So how can your teen maximize their testing experience, their morning testing experience? How can they maximize that? How can they make the most of it? Well, one of the ways, obviously, is by showing up, right? Showing up prepared, ready to go, doing the absolute best they can. Obviously, number one. But also, ACT provides something that they call the test information release that's available not on all 7 testing dates, but on a few, 2 to 3 usually throughout the year. They offer, it's for an additional fee, a resource that will help your teen continue to prepare and continue if they're wanting to continue to look to increase their score. If your teen's done, if this is their final ACT, you really wouldn't want to worry about considering the test information release. But if you know your teen's going to keep working, looking to get their score up, I'd really invite you to consider ordering the TIR, the test information release. And so when your teen gets their score back from their test, from that ACT test date, if you've ordered the TIR, they will also receive a copy of all the test questions that they actually took that morning, the questions they actually answered. They will get a copy of those questions. They will also get a copy of their answers, and they'll get a copy of the correct answers. So they'll get to see that the correct answer was B, but they chose D, right? And so they can go back and use that as a study guide to see the exact questions they got wrong and the wrong answers that they chose. So it's really a great resource if your teen will go back through and use them as a good study guide. And also in that TIR, ACT also includes the conversion chart, the conversion table that they use for that specific test of how they go from the raw score to the score of 36. Like, for example, English has 75 questions. And so that chart shows exactly how many questions you had to get right to get a 24, how many questions you had to get right to get a 27. And that typically it's close to the same test to test, but it can have some slight differences. And so it's nice to know exactly how your teen's score came about, how many questions they actually got right, and how that converted to their score of 36. So it's a really helpful resource. It is an additional fee. If you order it before the actual test date, it's $32. But you can still order it after the test date, I believe up to 6 months. But the price goes up to $40. So if you can afford to make that additional investment, again, on a test date that has the TIR report, I believe it's well worth it for your teen to see the questions that they got wrong, how they got them wrong, right, in terms of the incorrect answer that they put, because it's really different for them to take a practice test, right, when they know it's low stakes. They just don't feel the pressure. But the TIR report shows how they performed under pressure Saturday morning, showing up with all the nerves, right, with all the stress of all that, having to get up and get themselves to the testing center and go through that whole process. That's a real score. And so TIR lets them get that feedback from that real score that they can use then to continue to work on getting their score up. So check it out. Test information release, TIR report. Again, only available on a few test dates, but myact.org. You can check it out. Talk to you soon.